Hi, in the past couple of movies, I have showed you how you can use PHP defined functions which are built on arrays and numbers. Furthermore, we work together and use those functions to create some quality but simple code that could be proved very powerful at some instance. So those functions which we used earlier with arrays and numbers were built by the PHP. Now what if you want to build some functions by your own? You can do that and it's very easy. So in this lecture we are going to define some user functions which you can make anytime you want and use anytime you want. Actually, the basic motto of defining function is you can use some functionality whenever you want without repeating all the process. For example, if you have a function of addition, then you can use addition functions anytime you want without defining the process of addition again. So you can make any type of function and you can use a function million times by creating it only once in your code. So let's see it and define it in our editor so that you can create some user defined functions by your own. So starting from the simple one, for defining function, first you have to type function as a keyword, then you have to give it some name. So I'm gonna give it name of welcome. It's just a name to our function, and then we have to add these parentheses for our function, and you can pass any argument in these parentheses, but we are not going to do it at this time. Let's save it for later. After that, we have to define the scope of our function by adding two curly braces. And inside these curly braces, I'm gonna write some code that will be in the scope of this function. So first let's echo one simple statement out, and I'm gonna say that welcome to PHP course. Now this is just a simple function. We made our function with the name of welcome and we have nothing more. So we have defined our function very well. Now let's save this and see it in browser. I have this file of user define function .php. Moving back to my Google Chrome. Our file is browsed successfully, but we don't have anything. However, we wrote one simple statement of echo in our function, but it's not showing it in our browser. Why? Because we have defined our function, we haven't called it. There are two things while creating function. First one is definition of function, and second one is calling of our function. Our function is made very nice from line 9 to line 11, but we haven't called it, so it's completely useless for us. However, it is made but we haven't used it. For using function, you have to call your function, so you need callback for your function. So I have given this function name of welcome. So for calling this function, I have to mention its name, and that is welcome. Then I have to pass the same parentheses that this function has, then putting semicolon at the end. So now I have called this function and this function name is welcome. Now let's save this and see it in browser now. See, now we have welcome to PHP course. So we have made this function only once. Now you can call this function 1000 times, 100 times, millions times you want. So if I add one br tag here, now you can call this function and use it in your code throughout your PHP file whenever you want. So now let's copy this one out and paste it right after it for a couple of times. You can paste it like this. This will not give you an error because you are separating your statement by using this semicolon at the end, so you will not have any kind of error. So let's paste it. Now let's save this, seeing it in browser. Now we have welcome to PHP course couple of times in our browser. Now we have welcome to PHP course in our browser by calling our function couple of times. So we made our simple function of welcome and then we called it for many times, and we are having the same output in our browser without any deficiency. So this is how PHP function works. Now I know that this function was quite easy and there was only one echo statement in that function that I have showed you until now. And I also know that many of you have this thought that we are just printing one echo statement, then why the name on earth we are using this complete structure of function for just echoing one echo statement? So I just want to say that just hold your breath. That was just simple function to making you familiar with the function structure, how we can declare our function and how to call back that function. So now let's create some quality function of addition in which we will have some addition as well. Now let's add one HR tag here so that you can see it on the next line. Now let's create one function of addition. So first I have to make keyword of function, then I have to give it some name. I'm gonna call it addition. Then in the parentheses of our function, first I'm gonna write one simple variable of a, and let's give it some value 5. And then we have this one more variable and I'm gonna call this variable b, and let's give it some value of 2. And then we have this variable of c in which I'm going to add these two variables of a and b. Okay, so our process is done. Now I'm just going to add one simple echo statement here, and I'm gonna say that addition is c and then br tag. So I wrote this simple function in which we will have a plus b in our c, and then we are going to see the result by writing code on our 17 line. So this one was function of addition. Let's save this. And now for using this function, we just have to call this function right after it. So I'm gonna call this function name addition. So I have called this function on line number 19. Let's save this one out. Refreshing the page. Now we have addition is 7. So if you want to see the result or use it at any time, you can just paste these calling of function for seeing the result multiple times. Now we have 3 statement of addition is 7 in our browser. So this way we just wrote our function once, and then we are using it calling back function structure to call this function. Now there is one question that could be arise at this moment, and that is we are having our same result in our browser of addition. So how can we utilize this functionality of function to have custom result? Maybe addition result of 5 plus 2 at first line, 9 plus 9 at second line, and 8 plus 9 at third line. You can do that by using functions with parameter structure. It's very easy. So now let's remove this one out from here and add simple line. Now I'm gonna define function with parameter. So let's give it name, and I'm gonna say addition using function parameter. You can use underscore or dash sign to make its name. It's also a valid name. So I have made this function of addition using function parameter, and now I'm going to give it some parameter in the parentheses of our function. So I'm gonna give it two variable x and y, separating them by using comma. And now inside the parentheses of our function, I'm gonna write the process of addition. I'm gonna say result, this third variable of result, in which I'm gonna add these two variable of x and y, and then simply I'm gonna echo one statement addition using function parameter is our third variable of result. So I have defined our function, I have defined the process, I have also wrote our echo statement as well, but I haven't give it any value to our variable of x and y. Don't worry, because in the calling of our function, I'm gonna pass any of the number which I want to be added in our result. So first, let's copy this name of this function from here and paste it for calling back. Now we have to write these parentheses here, but this time is going to be a little bit different. Why? Because in the definition of our function we have passed two arguments, two parameter in our function x and y. So now I'm gonna give these two argument value from our calling back statement. So I'm gonna give it number of 12 and 4. So this 12 is going to be saved in x automatically, and this 4 is going to be saved in y, and then this 12 is going to go from here to here, and this 4 is going to go from here and then from here. So it will add on line 22 and we will have our result. So now let's save this one out and see it in browser. See, now we have addition using function parameter is 16, completely perfect. So if I want to use this function for some different numbers, I can say 120 plus 44, saving this one out. See, now we have 164. So if I want to use this function for 1284, then I have the result in our screen. So this way you can make your function once and you can use it for as many a time as you want for custom values by using functions with parameter technique. Now we have seen our functions and functions with parameter as well, but most of the time in PHP we don't have to show data to our user. Why? Because we just create functions to use these functions in our inner side of code. We don't have to use echo statement to show our data every time to the user through our browser. So you can create your function completely and then you can return the value from your function to the other part of your code if you need to use it. So don't have to rely on the echo statement. You can just simply return some value from your function without echoing it. So now I'm gonna add one simple function of addition again, and let's create this time addition using return structure. So I have given it name of addition using return, and in the parentheses I'm gonna pass two variable and I'm gonna say $p variable and $q variable. And now in the parentheses of our function addition using return, let's write our same code for addition. So this new variable of f is equal to $p $q, nothing changed. So now instead of echoing this function, our result is going to be saved in the variable f. So let's return our f. So I have made this function using return. Now at the time of our calling, first let's copy it from here, and then I'm gonna pass two values inside our function, and these values will be 50 and 50 for addition. So everything is perfect. Saving this one out and seeing it in browser, we do have one line using the HR tag, but we don't have any result because we are not echoing this one out in our browser this time. So if you want to see the return value what you are having from this function, you can just simply echo this one out by equaling it for new variable, and I'm gonna say it to be total. So now our new variable of total is equal to this function calling, and on the next line I'm just simply going to echo this new variable of total. Saving this one out, seeing it in browser now. See, now we have 100 in our browser. You can use this result of line number 33 in our next function call. So I'm gonna say total 1, this new variable of total 1 is equal to the function call of addition using return, and in the parenthesis I'm gonna pass two values. First, the value that we are receiving on line number 33 in the variable of total. I'm gonna pass total here, and in the next parameter I'm gonna pass any value I want. So let's pass value of 2. So we had the result of 100 by this line number 33 statement. So on line 34 we are using this result of 100 and we are editing 2 in our total 1 variable. So now let's echo this total 1 this time, saving this one out, seeing it in browser. We have to put semicolon here. See, now we have the result of 1 over 2. So this way you can create your function, pass function parameters, or others also say it arguments. You can return some value from your function. But before ending this lecture, I'm gonna share something more with you, and that is you cannot redefine your function. For example, I have this function of addition on line number 13. So if I want to redefine it by copying it from here and defining it on line 36, and instead of changing anything, let's save this one out and seeing it in browser. See, now we have error on line 41. Why? Because you cannot redeclare addition function previously declared in blah blah. So this way you have also known that you cannot redefine your function. So if you want to make any function, you can use different type of word. So if I change this capital addition to smaller addition and saving this one out, see, now we still have the error because function names are not case sensitive. So addition with lower letter will be same as addition with uppercase letters. It's not like the variables. So keep this thing in mind. See you next lecture.